Hey everybody. All right, in this next lesson, this next set of videos, we're going to talk about a situation that maybe looks a little different from what you've been used to seeing up to this point. So let's take a look at, and you can read what it says. It says equations with variables on each side, so I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with that. So let's take a look at this problem right here. So got 8 plus 4d equals 5d. Now, what is different between this and some of the other two-step equations that you've seen so far? Think about that for a second. Well, for one, you've got a variable in more than one place. You're used to having the variable show up only once, and we call that univariate. All right, and if you see some problems in in ALEX and other things like that, they'll call that univariate when it just shows up once. Well, this is showing up twice, and not only is it showing up twice, but it is showing up here and here. Let me get to a better color here. It's showing up here and it's showing up here. So it's on both sides of the equation sign, or as we like to say, our fence, right? So what this is going to require for us is a slightly different strategy than what we were used to before. Generally speaking, what you're used to is when you have something like this is, well, we isolate the variable, get it by itself, and then, everything kind of sorts itself out in the pursuit of doing that. The problem with this is I can't isolate two variables that are on either side. In other words, we're going to have to join them together. And if we go back to our farm example and where this is our fence, we've got cows over here and we've got cows over here. So instead of there being chickens everywhere, we've got cows everywhere. So we got to get the cows together. So in a sense, it's very similar to what you've done before, but it's going to require a slightly different approach, all right? And so the approach that I want you guys to think about is what we're always going to try to do is we're going to try to move the variables to the side that has the most. And you're going to have to remember what it means when you say most. So if you've got positive and negative numbers, obviously the largest positive number is the most. And then the same thing with the largest negative number. But remember, when you talk about negative numbers, if you've got negative 3x and negative 5x, if you've got these two right here, right? Well, the negative 5x is actually smaller than negative 3x. And I think if you follow this general rule that I'm going to sort of lay down as we do these, you're going to find these problems aren't quite so bad. So let's look at how do we work on this. All right, so we've got 8 plus 4d equals 5d. So let's get our d's all in one spot. So there's more of the d's over here on this side. So we're going to subtract 4d from this side, and then whatever you do from one side, you do the other side. So essentially, we're just moving this over here. And remember, when you move it over to the other side, it changes signs. So we wind up with 8 on this side. And then 5d minus 4d is you always just look at your coefficients. You go 5 minus 4 is 1. And then keep your variable on. So you get 1d, which is another way of just saying d. So in this case, we've got d equals 8. So this is the basic framework of how we're going to solve these sorts of problems. I'll do a couple examples in the next video that'll hopefully clarify some of the situations that will come up for you.